have never heard of me? Yay, nice to meet you. My second question is always, are you ready? Because we're about to enter a whole new frequency, a completely different zone. Intuition is more than just knowing this or that or the next thing. Intuition is a completely different paradigm. And so, I believe that every time a group of people come together, we do it by divine appointment. We're not here by accident, even if you got hijacked here by your best friend. And so, here's what we can do. In the next hour, we can completely change your life if you're willing. So are you willing? Yes. Here's how it works. Now, what we see, that mic is like the group. So what we need to do in order to work is I teach the way I was taught. So I teach to the people who are fully available and put 2 feet in. Fair enough? Okay. So, but here's my experience when I work with people, and I've worked with probably hundreds of thousands of people around the globe for a long time. Usually what happens is that about 50% listen, but they're listening for what they want to hear. And if they're not hearing what they want to hear, they ignore it. Then there's another maybe 30% who are really excited. And they listen and they're enthusiastic in the moment. But the minute they hit the door, it slides right off like eggs on Teflon. And they're off to the next high or the next thing or the next whatever, and they forget about it. But then there's 20% that hear, that sense, that feel, that drop in to not just information, because intuition is not about information. It's the opposite of information. It's about tuning into energy and tuning into the energy of who you are authentically. And when you tap into that and you give that voice, when you give that power, when you give that presence, everything changes. And so I'm here to talk to that 20%. And still, I'm always willing to have that equation change. So, because you went to all this trouble, it's really important to know something else that we don't talk about very much. But we are sentient, energetic beings, and we actually can only progress to the degree of the energy that we're around. So the truth is, no matter how enthusiastic you are, the odds are against you that you're only going to progress as far as the person holding back. So I encourage everybody to turn to the person next to you and say, I went to a lot of trouble to be here, so that better not be you. And I mean it. Okay, so now the next thing is I'm going to ask you to do something that we don't get asked very often, but is really important. You're all here. I can feel it. I can sense it. I've heard it. I've talked to you. You all came here because you have real vision, real dreams, real yearnings that you're trying to make contact with. But nothing will happen unless you put 2 feet in and play full out to the edges. And you can't fake that energy out. Even if you're screaming at the top of your lungs, if that energy inside of you is withholding, people feel it. They may not be able to name it. They not be able to quite really discern what it is, but they feel it. And you know what's going to happen if they feel that from you? They won't trust you. I don't care how creative you are. I don't care how clever you are. I don't care how magnificent. If you're not putting 2 feet into your own experience, why on earth would anyone else do so? So I'm going to ask you to put 2 feet in. Are you willing? Yes. We're really in trouble. If that was 2 feet in, let me hear 2 feet in. Let me ask you, is that 100%? No, that isn't 100%. Can you feel that? It isn't. But I want to thank the ones who are doing 200% and blowing a gasket. So the truth is, it isn't information, no matter how much you get, that's going to make your lives really transform. It isn't. I'm sorry. Information will support your dreams, but it is your spirit that will create them. It is your spirit that will guide you. It isn't remembering a bunch of things, but it is your spirit who is being present and available and truly transparent. And so I'm going to invite you to do something for 1 hour. Put 2 feet in, play full out, and if you don't like it, you can pretend we never met at lunchtime, and we'll go our separate ways. Fair enough? Yes. Okay, well, let me hear it one more time. I'm the person, by the way, that's going to bug you. Because my teacher told me you never learn anything unless you're truly uncomfortable. And so I'm here to make you miserable for an hour. And then the whole weekend will be a true success. So everybody, let me hear fully 2 feet in. Feel that. Now, feel that vibration. Breathe it in. This is the energy that makes miracles happen. You are in the perfect conditions right now in this frequency to attract something that's been very elusive and out of your touch. So everybody, just take that moment, take the opportunity, breathe in. Open your heart so that you are able to receive more. Now what I'm going to ask you to do is, everybody, I'm going to ask you to put your notebooks away because your notebooks are in the way. Nothing you write is going to get you to your intuitive mind. You should see people with their notebooks. Besides, you know what you do with those notebooks? You take notes and you take notes and you take notes, and then you put the notebook away and you forget all the notes. So what we're going to do instead is have experiences where you have direct connection with your authentic self. So the first thing I want you to do is I want you to do this. Breathe in through the nose and then say, moi. Again, breathe in, open your jaw till you hear a click in your ear. Moi. This time, feel what happens in your heart when you do that. And then, ha! And breathe. Listen. Instant meditation. Perfectly quiet in there. We're opening the energy here. And it is the energy here that allows you to be truly sixth sensory. There are 2 types of people on this planet right now. 5 sensories and 6 sensories. And they are not at all the same. 5 sensories are people who live strictly out of the left brain, out of the ego. They identify themselves only by that kind of information. Everything is out picturing. And because the ego by nature is fearful, the entire paradigm or point of view is me against you. And you scare me. And up goes that field of defense that only lets people in so close. So with that pushing away, the 5 sensory is walking in a field of fear. And they're trying to manage that fear, so they're not terribly available to other people. Or subtle energy, which is what intuitive energy is. The five sensory has a signature. Their signature is, you can always see it. They have really tight lips and a really tight butt. Call it tight butt syndrome. And you ask them how they are. I'm fine. I'm fine. TBS. And their energy is really stifling. It sucks the life out of you. You don't know quite what happened. When you're in that field, you just feel a little bit of your spirit just sniped away. But then there's another type of person, the sixth sensory. And the sixth sensory, we six sensories, we know that we are spirit. And as spirit, we know there's no them. There's just us. And that we share the same spirit. We share the same breath. So all of a sudden, that spirit no longer sees the world as potential enemy, but every single moment is opportunity. The sixth sensory looks at the world very differently. The five sensories, we're different. You scare me. But the sixth sensory is, we're the same. Let's connect. And better yet, let's create. The sixth sensory has a very different signature. They always have a sparkle in their eye. There's always a smile on their lips. And there always is just a little bit of energy in their hips. Because have you ever heard the expression, the spirit moved me? Well, how movable are you? Tight butt's like, oh. Or the sixth sensory, we're dancers. We dance with energy. We spin with energy. We spin it up. So the five sensory is someone who stops the flow and tries to control and get more information. Where the beauty of really spinning up into your intuition is, guess what? You don't have to think anymore. Instead, you're present, you feel, you listen, you respond for dissonance, resonance. You move in when it's time or you move back. And there's no moment of language. There's the first brain is the heart. Your heart is an intelligent organ. And this first brain informs the body way before the brain develops. And the second organ in your body to develop is the cochlear, the inner ear. All the other senses come later, and through that straight to your heart. We are being informed energetically. And not in bits and pieces like the left brain creating a story. We are being informed in a unified field. The aha. The feeling that you can't even find language for. And you know you're really intuitive when you don't need language. You just go with it. The five senses are outward senses that get defined and get formulated by influence of winning approval and trying to abandon and not be yourself. But the sixth sense is actually the first sense that takes you home. And it isn't fearful. It is your heartbeat. It is your life force. And it is your power. So breathe. Move around a little bit. The spirit is fire. It moves. So to tune in to the intuition, you're tuning in to something other than more words. You're turning inward, coming home, back to who you are. So what we can do is I'm going to give you some tools, if you're willing to play with me, that will bring you back to that place. You don't have to learn all the tools. Just pick one. I'll give you a bunch. You pick one, and then you see which one works for you. But every one will take you back to the same place, because what I want to do is reconnect you to the sense that's not negotiable. If you want to achieve whatever it is you want to achieve creations, you want to create businesses, it's about relationship. If you're not connected to yourself, people will feel it. It'll only go so far. You want to create new ideas. Well, if you're not connected to yourself, you're only going to go so far as the things other people give you. That's their ideas. If you want to create intimacy with life, which is what we all really want to create, that connection, that feeling where we're not like window shopping going, I want that. But we're actually in the experience. If you want to create that, you have to come home. And you have to give up your attachment to old things. So we'll try new things. And then you decide. Okay? Are you ready? Yeah, you sound about as excited as if I'm going to mow you down. Okay, are you scared? Ah, you are. Everybody, blah. Okay. My beautiful visual aid here. This is my daughter, Sonia. We're going to teach you a tool. This tool is 3 minutes and 45 seconds. It's a tool called the breath of life. It gets you out of your head and back into your body, reconnects you with your spirit. I'll have Sonia walk you through the technique, and here's how it's going to work. The first minute, you're going to be like, it's okay, I can do that. Second minute, you're going to go, I got this down, let's move on. The third minute, you're going to go, this is boring, I'm sick of it, I don't like her anymore. And then the 45 seconds after, something really big is going to happen, because what we're going to do is we're going to flood your experience. So we're going to get the left brain connected to the right brain. And then those two brains are going to start talking until they become a unified field, and then the exciting thing happens. The right brain is going to flip and start talking to the heart. So though the head's going to start talking to the heart, and then the heart's going to flip and start talking to you. And you'll be back in touch with your spirit. So you up for that? Yeah. Okay, everybody up. Nothing ever exciting happens sitting down. Okay, so Sonia's our visual aid. She is going to show you what to do. You're going to raise your hands above your head like a baby bird getting a worm first thing in the morning. Ready? And then you're going to pull your arms down. Ha! Again. Ha! Okay. Now that's your basic move, but here's where it gets exciting. Every few seconds, I'm going to say change. And what I want you to do is a move that you have never done before, because that lights up your other brain, and it gets out of that left brain cycle that I call the bad neighborhood, okay, round and around, and it leaps you over to your other brain. So, for example, ha! 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 So, every few seconds, I'll say change, and the way we're going to do this is because we think we're doing something and we're really not. We're going to need a partner. So you're going to turn to a person next to you, and that way you two will make sure you're doing it, because some of you will forget to breathe. Some of you will forget to move. Some of you will forget to do anything and just freeze. Okay, now, of course, you're going to need a little motivation. So I have written a song for you that is exactly 3 minutes and 45 seconds long. And it is called Love Your Life. You can get it as a free download on my website for inspiration. And if you do this for 30 days, you will completely change your brain frequency and get rewired back to your spirit. So are you ready for it? Ready, Mr. Music? Feel that? Getting ready? Ha! 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 Change! Change! A move you've never done before. New move. Ha, 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 ha. Keep breathing. Ha, 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 ha. New move. Woo. Ha, 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 ha. New move. Ha. Be creative. Ha, 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 ha. Keep going. Ha, 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 ha. New move. Ha, 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 ha. Breathe. Next tool. Sing. Open up that throat chakra. Breathe it in. Everybody. Sunshiny day. Put it in your solar plexus. Now, put it in your bones. Let your mojo out. Let your spirit move you. Everybody. Okay, this is the best part. This is interpretive dance. Look straight ahead. Let out a joyful noise. Yeah, 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 yeah. Rock it out. Woo. Woo. Breathe it. Woo! Own it. Pull it in your belly. Ah, sunshiny day. And one more joyful noise. Perfect conditions. We have just created the perfect conditions in which to create. Feel this frequency. Feel this frequency. What would you love next? Just tell the universe, surprise me. Surprise me. Ah. Breathe. And if you want to choke because you breathe so much, just snort like this. Have a seat. Feel this frequency. This is what it feels like to have your spirit fully embodied. And listen, it's quiet in there. So now we're going to continue. The next thing to do is we're so busy feeding our brains and our brains and our brains and our brains that we really do have a very bad case of mental constipation. But our spirits, our psychic anorexia, they're starved. And so what we do afterwards, this is what I call the breakfast of champions. You start with the breath of life to breathe your body back to life, to breathe your spirit. Flood yourself. 3 minutes, 40 seconds, and then you sing. That opens the throat chakra, gets you out of your left brain. And then what I'd like to do is introduce you to a technique that's called sourcing. You know, it's a difference in figuring it out. Sourcing is actually allowing yourself a few moments to make contact with your true nature, with your higher self, with the divine, the unseen. Sourcing has been done throughout all of time by people of great genius. Mozart would do it. He would sit and source and receive. It's receiving, really. Einstein would do it. Steve Jobs would do it. And if you do it, you bypass the intellect and its limits. And you begin to train the intellect to support the spirit. So the way to source is to first of all understand we're making contact, regular contact with your own divine nature. The Greeks had a word for it. It was called the entelechy. We call it the higher self. The self that is beyond the body and the edges of our defined personality in three-dimensional time. To source is to make yourself available. Think of what you're wanting, that yearning, that wanting, that seeking. If I get this, or I create that, or I do this, and there's this emptiness, and there's this void, and sourcing fills the void. The way I source is with a particular piece of music that speaks to me, but I'll only use it in this context to introduce you to the idea, but it doesn't have to be my piece of music. Any piece of music that allows you to leave the third dimension for a moment or two. So the music that I use is by a friend of mine, Krishna Das. He's a beautiful, beautiful healer and chanter, and it's called the Devi Puja. So for those of you who are from India, you would know this is an invocation. But what we're doing is we're actually invoking the divine you as a daily practice to receive the divine you, to make contact and be fed, nurtured, nourished, inspired, strengthened by a source that is bigger than your own mind can ever conjure up, because your spirit is timeless. And so what we're going to do is I want you to first really, again, because we breathed and sang and moved the energy, we opened your sinuses, so you might feel like you want to cough. So again, just clear it. And then I want you to put your feet on the ground. You know, the spirit is fire, so we're feeling the fire. It's okay to be sweaty. It means our life force is present, our hearts are beating. Rub your hands together. Shake them out. And just gently feel the energy flowing back and forth, hand to hand. It's a subtle pulse. It's not a big deal. It's very subtle. But this is a frequency of your spirit. The hands are connected to the heart. When the heart is beating, your life is here. You're here. And then turn the palms upward. In a receiving mode, I want you to take a look around the room. Notice where you are, who you're with, And if you feel safe enough with the next breath, I'm just going to ask you to close your eyes. And let your sound, allow your attention to drift away from the room and bring it to your heart and feel the energy flowing from the heart through the hands. And open up the hands. If you can imagine, if you've ever seen the image of Michael in the Sistine Chapel reaching the hand to God reaching, this is what we're doing. We're receiving. This is not an act of doing, it's an act of receiving. And we're going to put on some music. And I'll guide you through this so that you can be nurtured and nourished and filled up rather than trying to reach for. So breathe. We're going to be playing the Devi Puja. This is it. So as you have your eyes closed, I'm going to ask you, relax your brow. And breathe. And relax your jaw. All the tension in your throat. Breathe. Open your heart. And rest your mind. And breathe. Relax your brow. Breathe in love from your spirit. Nurturing and grace. Breathe. Open your heart, front and back. And rest your emotions. Breathe. Receive grace, strength. Rest your brow. Allow the energy to flow through you. Filling up every cell with grace. Feeding your gifts. Feeding your light. Breathe. Rest. Breathe in. Relax your brow. Relax your jaw. Relax your heart. Your beautiful divine self flowing into your hands, into your heart, into your cells, feeding and nurturing your strengths and your dreams, healing your wounds, clearing and freeing all confusion, all that is not you and does not belong to you. Rest and breathe. Relax your shoulders and dream in your spirit. Dream in your grace. Breathe in your light. Receive. Breathe in. Feel the Spirit flowing through you, pulsing, light, healing. Breathe. Relax. Receive. Breathe. Relax your brow. Relax your jaw. Open your heart. Receive life force and beauty, inspiration. Receive your own divine nature. Surrender your thoughts. Allow your spirit to move in, to come home, to be present. Just breathe. Filled with grace. Breathe in. Open your heart. Breathe in. And breathe in with eyes closed. Allow your attention to come to your toes. And breathe in. Gently rub your hands together. Eyes closed, place them over your eyes. And very gently tap on the third eye. And breathe in. With your fingers over your eyes, allow your eyes to open behind closed fingers and travel to the floor with soft eyes. Bringing your hands to your lap. Breathe. Gently breathe. Coming back into the third dimension, allow your eyes now to travel to eye level with soft eyes and gently breathe and look around. Without rushing, allow your eyes now to travel above you and breathe. And then complete this experience by doing my favorite yoga pose, which is to bring the edges of your lips up to your ears and hold it. And allow yourself to sit in this moment where there's no doing, there's no trying, there's no effort, there's just being present to your own beautiful nature. Breathe. These are the perfect conditions in which to create. There's no interference. So if there is any experience that you have been yearning for, breathe that in to the best of your ability without making an effort. As though you're breathing in the most beautiful flower gifted to you. And then let out the sound, ah. Ah. And then I'm going to invite you to just very gently stand up and stretch. Bring the energy to your hips. Move those hips back and forth. It'll swing around both ways. And have a seat. Okay. So I want to give you some more tools, but this is the most powerful. The Breakfast of Champions is a powerful tool to bring you back to your intuition, get you out of your thinking head, and it helps you not let your intellect fake you out. Because your intellect doesn't like to give up. It wants to always have the answer, always be in control, but there's something very interesting. Your intellect cannot be in charge. Your ego idea cannot be in charge when you flood yourself with the spirit, with the breath. The breath of life, followed by singing and then sourcing, that entire experience was only 14 minutes long. Can you imagine what would happen in your life if you just created that little moment for yourself every day? You know, creating a relationship with your spirit, with your intuition, which means your inner teacher, means that you have to show up. Just show up, but you show up in a listening way. Listening. So I want to give you 4 more tools that will help you every time, and you won't forget them. The first tool is to be open to your intuition, to be open to listening, but you're not listening for words, you're listening for energy. You're listening for subtle dissonances. You're listening for whether things feel true. When you work with intuition, we don't live as sixth sensors in the world of right and wrong. Because right and wrong for who? What's right for me may not be right for you. So we step into a third space and we live with the frequency of what feels true for me for now. Because intuition is a moment to moment to moment tracking of energy as life is being created. So when you begin to listen for energy, so it comes here and here. We don't listen up here. I really do call that left brain the bad neighborhood. That is the neighborhood we want to move out of. We want to move to the right, to the heart, and this is where the Spirit moves you. I was talking one time, I was offered to be the speaker who introduced Deepak Chopra at an event one year, just because Choquette and Chopra are like right 2 letters right apart from each other, so I was right before him. And he said, I was talking to him, and we were in this little event where they invited a bunch of people in Chicago to this special dinner or coffee, whatever, to meet Deepak. But one of the people that came was the head of the Bulls basketball team. And I talked to him because they were on a winning streak, and I said, how do you know? How do you know if you have a winner? How do you know if you have a champion? How do you choose? And he said to me, which I love because it just confirmed everything I teach, he said, we watch their hips. Because the true champions, their hips are moving with the ball and their head moves last. So intuition is a very flexible physical thing. So how open are you to that? How many of you are members of the woulda, coulda, shoulda club of lost opportunity where you felt the energy, but your mind went into tight butt? You know, the minute my teachers taught me, the minute you figure it out, the minute you go to your head to start figuring it out and start justifying it, you've lost your moment. So it's a very fluent thing. How open are you to being moved? How open are you to flowing with something without having to explain to anyone? That's freedom. That's freedom. When we start thinking, how many people say when they come to my workshops, how do I know? It's like, you don't. You don't need to know. You feel it. You go beyond intellect. You feel it. If you feel an energy, you're feeling something. It's real. Now, what prevents us from feeling is that we're not open to feeling. We're so defended. We don't want people to get close to us. We don't want them to see our flaws. We don't want them to see our vulnerabilities. We don't want them to see our weaknesses. So how can you feel anything? So the very, very, very first thing to do is make peace with your human experience. All of our human experience is going to have flaws. We're going to have vulnerabilities. We're going to mess up. We're going to make mistakes. But that doesn't mean it's who we are. Those are just our experiences. But if we keep layering and presenting an artificial self, we're not open to our spirit. We're just managing our chaos and trying to package it so it looks pretty. And you know what that feels like in the world? And you may know this very well. If anybody has ever been to an arcade and you get in the bum cars in the arcade and you it's like, oh, we're supposed to have fun, and you all get in these cars and you slam into one another and you slam into, and we're like, oh, we're having fun, and slam, and some just get really intense and go, and others like freak out to the edge, and then everybody gets up and goes, oh, that was so fun. That's what it's like when our egos are slamming into one another. But if you really want to live an intuitive life, you have to have the courage to be open to who you are. You have to have the courage to be available to who you are. And the word courage, by the way, comes from the French word cœur, which means heart. So to have courage means to drop out of that intellectual fight, flight, flees, control, crazy bump cars experience and drop into a place that really is authentic and genuine. Undefended, because you really know your spirit. That's our great work now. That's the great work of the planet. Not to know more, but to get our minds in service to our great spirit and start living lives that are genuinely informed beyond our intellects, informed from a deep spiritual place that says we matter to one another, we matter to the planet. That's intuition. So let us create things that no longer isolate us. Let us create things that connect. Intuition is the great connector. So it's wonderful that we have all these fabulous things that we've manifested, but if all we are having is an artificial life, we miss it. So the message is to be open to your spirit, To be open to letting it become available to you, to be open to letting it become available to life and to people. The second thing is to actually expect that your spirit knows a lot. It knows a lot more than what you read about and what you've heard or what you've watched. It knows what's true for you, and you feel it in your bones. It's subtle. It's a or an ah or a oh or a ah, but it's there. And if we don't deaden ourselves with every externally oriented, numbing experience we can find, we can feel it. So we have to move away from our electronical worlds, and we have to move away from our telephones and our short circuit, got to have an instant hit from the outside, just a little bit. I mean, I'm all for all of it, but where's that moment to feel? And if we don't create that moment, you're going to miss it. Intuition is not another clever thing to have on your checklist. It's a connection to yourself, to your true nature. True, not right. And it's so creative because your true nature is here to create incredible things. Experiences, relationships, wonderful ways to heal your own lives and the planet, but you have to be available and expect that what you feel is real. Real enough to go to the next step, which is act on it. How many of you have missed your moment saying, I knew that, I felt that, why did I, da-da-da-da? And that's why I have you dance first. I'm not going to pour information into an already overloaded brain. You need to move. Because you move all those other words out so you can hear your own inner voice. That's why we move. That's why the whirling dervishes whirled. Because they were spinning it all out to connect. So the fire of us is our spirited dances. So then we trust what we feel. What a bold move. To not have to explain or put it in parentheses or what do I say? I can't tell you how many people have come to me who've said, I feel my intuition, but they don't get it. There is no they. You don't get it. I teach people who are at the top of the highest levels of corporations around the world. I teach people at some of the highest levels of government. And the people who are there, they listen to their spirit. You can be that. You can be that genius. But not unless you make that choice. The choice that will change your life is to quit asking questions here. Start sourcing here. And have the courage. Have the courage to breathe in your own genius and to stand in your own power and to be transparent and quit hiding and quit feeling like you have to. To listen, but not with your brain, to listen with your body, to listen with your heart, to listen with your breath. Breathe. Definition of intuition is pay attention. But what are you paying attention to? Breathe. Yoga smile. Because the yoga smile opens the heart, and then you can pay attention. It just pulls the curtains right open. So to live an intuitive life, to be a sixth sensory, is a courageous choice. A courageous choice. I don't know what is more awesome than the ah in aha. And that's the heart speaking. To be really exceptional, you won't succeed as a five sensory. The really exceptional people use all six senses and they flip it around and they know that your inner voice is the first sense because it's the compass of what is true. It's your protector, it's your guide, it's your inspiration, it's your life force, it's your friend, it's your lover, it's your essence, it's your glorious divine nature. And if when you open for that, really, then all the other things that you're gathering, you won't need. You won't need 1,000,001 things. You'll just need your breath, your essence, your presence, your listening, and trusting who you are. Breathe. And I really do believe that this is why you're here today. I feel like you all feel called at something bigger. To not live this 5-sensory paradigm, it's not big enough. A 6-sensory paradigm is not a linear step, it's an exponential explosion. Everything improves. Your health improves. Your genius improves. Your money improves. Your physical health improves. You become timeless. You become a creative magnet. You become a lover of life. You become fearless. It explodes like a star. It's not a ladder to climb, one more rung to achieve. And that is a breath away. So, the first tool, breathe. 3 minutes and 40 seconds jumping around. Aha, aha, aha. It's amazing. I want to give you one final tool for the road, and that is to wonder about 100 things a day. 100 things a day. Leonardo da Vinci had his apprentices wonder out loud about 100 things a day, not needing to know the answer. Just not needing to know the answer. So turn to the person next to you and wonder about something. And then they wonder back. Let's just finish with that. Okay, I'm going to give you a game to play at lunch. We're going to finish in 1 minute, and I'm going to give you a game to play at lunch, okay? Are you ready? Okay, here's the game you're going to play at lunchtime. You're going to play a game called I Wonder. And in the game, there's 3 rules. The first rule is you can't need to be right, okay? So, got it? All you straight A students in the class? Second rule, you can't ask if you're wrong. You've got to be willing to be wrong. So how's that one? You've got to be willing to be absolutely wrong. And the third one is you can't ask for the answer. And how you play is you play, I wonder. So I wonder if you're going to move to Italy. And you say to the person next to you, I wonder, I don't know, I wonder. I wonder if you're going to write a new musical. And you say, I don't know, I wonder. I wonder if you're about ready to start a lingerie line. I wonder. I wonder. And the only answer is I wonder. And play that at lunchtime for at least 5 minutes. You'll know if somebody takes too long, you have to push the buzzer and go, ah. You're in the figure it out, you're in the bad neighborhood, and you smack them on the back. And then you go back to playing, and that is how you tune in to the other side, to the 6th sensory realm. So play that game, and you will have so much fun. And I wonder how many of you are really going to play. I wonder. Okay, so we're going to end with a song because I believe that music goes right to the heart, and this is a song that I was given to play for you. This is what I believe is your theme song, is our theme song, is people who really want to wake up and change the world.